Thank you for joining me. We will be starting in approximately 1 minute and 47 seconds. We will be starting in approximately 12 seconds. Hi, and thank you for joining me on this Monday evening. My name is Wayne from Ascend Custom Designs. I'm a small business owner and a part of the X-Tool Squad program. What is the X-Tool Squad, you might ask? The X-Tool Squad is a global network of experienced makers, educators, and small business owners such as myself. We offer one-on-one demos of the X-Tool products that we own, and the demos are a mix of online and in person. It differs by the host that you select. Some hosts will also offer material testing and skill training. Material testing involves testing a wide range of customer supplied samples under a number of different parameters to get you perfect results. Whereas skill training is essentially a one-on-one masterclass with an X-Tool squad host. They will guide you through anything that you're struggling with. So if you need help with the software, it's very much tailored towards your needs and what you want to get out of it. So if you want to find out more information about that, you can visit the website below. I will also drop something in the comments in terms of how to find demo room hosts. So if you was to click on that link, that will take you to the page where you can type in your postcode and find a local host to you. And obviously you can always book anyone in terms of online demos. And by all means, you can book, if you're traveling into, say, Birmingham and you live in Scotland, by all means, you can book someone in Birmingham like myself. And that has happened previously. So you have a wide range of options. I would highly recommend finding a host local to yourself, visiting their workshop or their home or their business in person and physically seeing the machines. It does make a very big difference compared to online. I've done online and in-person demos, and I've done a couple of online and in-person demos with the same people, and I've had the same feedback from the people that have then seen the machine in person. It is vastly different, and you do get so much more out of it. So where possible, I would highly recommend in person. I do understand that traveling is not always convenient and times, and online is just way more convenient. So that's why you do have that online option. I do have a rough schedule of what I want to go over today. So I'll jump into the machines and the tech specs. Apologies if you're joining me from previous live streams. I do the same beginning for everything. So if anyone's new here, they can understand the different machines, what they look like, what you can expect in terms of laser safety, and then we'll jump straight into the software and go through things. And again, if anyone has any questions as we go along, please do drop it in the comments. Alternatively, my contact information is on screen. You can always email me after the fact. I do respond to my emails. I've had a couple of emails from last week that I've responded to. So if you do have any questions, or if there's anything that I wasn't specific about that you do want specifics for, please do reach out and I'll be happy to give them to you. If you're looking to book a demo with myself, you can scan the QR code in the top right. Alternatively, go to demo.ascendcd.com and you can book me there. I will also drop in my contact information into the comments. So if you are checking this out after it has aired, please again do reach out. So today we'll cover all three of the machines listed above. So the M2, the F2 and the F2 Ultra UV. We'll go over the tech specs. Then we'll have a look at the physical machines. I'll then jump into some laser safety. We'll go through Xtool Studio. The current version is version 1.7.3. And then I'll show you how I use custom things, AI Make, taking online orders, doing batch processing to simplify my workflow and maximize the profit. So the less time you spend working on orders, the more money you can make. So that's the whole idea. And I'll show you what tools Xtool have in place that allow you to maximize your time. Honestly, the stuff that they've implemented over the last year, absolutely fantastic. So we'll cover those and some of the materials we'll work on: keychains, golf markers, pretty much anything. So if anyone has something specific, if I have it here in the office, I'm more than happy to demonstrate that live. So without further ado, if we jump into the Xtool M2. So this is a new addition to the lineup. So this is the later version of the M1. So the M1 Ultra is a vinyl cutter. So this does not cut vinyl. So I just want to make that pretty obvious. So this is a newer incarnation of the M series, but this does not do anything in terms of cutting vinyl. So it doesn't have that blade in it. So this is purely a laser inkjet module, and you have the option for the different types of laser. So you have the 3-watt infrared module, and then in terms of the diode, you have the 10-watt and 20-watt laser modules. This is capable of also printing, much like the M1, but it has full color. So it has that CMYK inkjet module, not just the CMY. So the initials there stand for cyan, magenta, yellow, and the K is black. This is a fully enclosed class 1 laser. Basically, that means you cannot operate this laser with the lid open. So that orange lid you can see on the screen, it has to be closed. So because of that, it's classed as a class 1 laser. It's very safe to be around. It means it's fully enclosed. The light cannot damage your eyes. In terms of features that it does have dual cameras. So the first camera, 5 megapixel panoramic camera, that's located on the lid of the machine, and I'll point that out when we do a physical tour of it. And then the 2 megapixel close-up camera is located to the right of where the modules get inserted. And also point that out as we go through. In terms of other features, it does have auto detect material, so you can put a piece of material in there and it will use AI to kind of identify the material and come up with some parameters. I've tested it on slate, cork coasters, and it's come out perfect in terms of what it's identified. In terms of the settings, they could do with some tweaking, but they do get you into the ballpark, which is fantastic. Realistically, you should know what materials you're putting in. So this is a pretty nice feature for those that are very, very new. This is your first laser. Some of the features of this machine are absolutely fantastic. In terms of speed, it can operate at a max speed of 600 millimeters a second. And this machine comes pre-assembled and is ready to use once you've unboxed it and taken the calibration steps. And the calibration is very simple. You just follow the on-screen prompts and you're ready to go. In terms of the max workspace, and there is an asterisk next to that, and that is because depending on what module, depends on what space you have. So the max workspace is 42.6 centimeters by 32 centimeters, and you get that with the 10 watt and 20 watt diode modules. If you use the infrared module, you do get slightly less, and the same again if you use the inkjet module. So you get the least amount of space with the inkjet module, and that's because it's beefier than the infrared module, and it also requires the clearance to pull the cap off. So there's a way this machine will slide under forks, and it will lift and pull the cap off and snap it back on, and that's to preserve the ink so it doesn't dry up. It's very, very cool to see in action. If you want to find out more information about this machine, please scan the QR code below. That will take you to Xtool's official website, where you can find out more information about the Xtool M2. So if we now jump onto the F2, so this is a dual laser, and it has a 5 watt infrared laser and a 15 watt diode laser. Because of that, it's able to engrave on well over 300 different types of material. I'm sure the number's actually much higher than that, but it's 300 plus for sure. In terms of speed, it has a maximum speed of 6,000 millimeters a second. So you might have noticed that the previous slide, it was 100 millimeters a second. So the reason why this is 6,000 is because this is a galvo-based laser. So it uses a couple of mirrors at the top of the laser source, and it will bounce the laser source around the bed. So one of the advantages of this method is the blazing fast speeds. One of the disadvantages is the area that's available to engrave. So the gantry-based laser, although it's only 600 millimeters a second, it has a massive work area compared to this small galvo laser. So this work area is 11.5 by 11.5 centimeters. So it's about the size of a slate coaster with a little bit of area around it spare. But you can expand that to up to 40 centimeters in width. So you're still stuck with that 11.5 centimeters of height or depth even. But you can expand that work area to 40 centimeters. And in terms of cameras, it has a 50 megapixel camera, and that allows an alignment accuracy of up to 0.1 millimeters. So it's very, very accurate, and that's when it's fully focused. And again, this comes pre-assembled, and it's ready to use out of the box once you take all the packaging out and again do the calibration test. So the reason why you have to do the calibration is because as things move in terms of shipping, things go out of place, and it's just to give you the perfect results from the get-go. So when you calibrate it, you're able to get perfect results from day one. Now, if we jump on to the F2 Ultra UV, so this is not to be confused with the F2 Ultra. So the F2 Ultra is pretty much a bigger version of the one that I just showed you, the small one. It has two different lasers. This one is not that. This is the F2 Ultra UV, so it's a single source laser, and it has a 5 watt ultraviolet laser. So the ultraviolet laser is sometimes known as a cold processing laser. So it's capable of engraving on nearly all types of material due to the UV's high photon energy, and it's able to break down the molecular bonds of the materials that it engraves. But it does so with minimal heat. So again, it's known as a cold laser or cold processing laser, but it's not to say it doesn't produce heat. It produces minimal heat, and because of this, you're able to engrave on a wide range of substrates, of materials, and you do get such impressive results. The dot size of this laser, and I'll cover the dot size a little bit later, is really, really tiny, and because of that, you're able to pick up the smallest details when you're engraving photos, for example. In terms of speed, this is capable of going a maximum of 15,000 millimeters a second. This also has a camera. So this has dual cameras. I always forget to mention that. So it has dual cameras, so 48 megapixel cameras, and it has an alignment accuracy of up to 0.2 millimeters. So it's still very, very accurate. This laser excels specifically with glass, more so on the inside of the glass. So you're able to engrave on the inside of the glass with the different lens that you can attach to it. So you can take off the field lens and switch it. And this allows you to do an external engrave or an internal engrave on glass. And again, this machine comes pre-assembled and extremely well packaged. And I will say this is a heavier machine. So this is about 22.5 kilograms. The smaller F2 is about 4.6 kilograms. In terms of the work area of this machine, you have a work area of roughly 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. And again, you can expand the width of this machine to 50 centimeters with the conveyor belt, and that works slightly differently than the slide extension of the F2. So the conveyor belt works very much like a conveyor belt that you would find at Sainsbury's, Tesco's, or Asda. So it's very different in the way that it operates, but you do get up to 50 centimeters of usable area with that. And if you want to find out more information about this specific machine, you can scan the QR code on screen, and that will take you to the Xtool UK website of the Xtool F2 Ultra UV. So with that all being said, if I was to jump over to the pan tilt zoom camera and do a physical tour of the machines. So first up, we have the Xtool M2. So this is that gantry-based laser. I told you that it has two laser sources. It has two cameras. So this here on the lid is where the 5 megapixel panoramic camera is located. And one of the things that I absolutely love about this machine is when you close it, it makes a beeping sound. So I don't know if that's picking up right now, but if I continue talking, you should hopefully hear the beep. And what that's doing is that will automatically take a picture and update it on the screen every time you open and close it. And that doesn't sound like much, but I'm telling you right now, on the other machines, like this one and this one, the F2 and the F2 Ultra UV, you have to update the material photograph every single time you move it. So I don't know if they will implement this feature into the other machines, but this is very nice to have that. It's just a very, very nice touch. In terms of the second camera that I talked about, it is located here. So this is where the laser source is, or the laser module in this case. So this is a different module. This is the print module. This is the cap that I was referring to that can come off and snap back on. It's magnetic. If I wanted to change this laser, it's a simple case of unplugging the USB-C cable out the side. I can then just pull this off simply like that. It's magnetically attached. If I was to show you the back, there's two metal prongs here. It automatically snaps into the two holes and sticks into place. So if I want to switch from the laser module to the inkjet module, it's honestly that simple, and you connect it back up. So if I was to just connect the laser module back up, and this is the 10 watt module, so I have the 10 watt version. If I snap that back into place and just click the USB-C cable back in, it's all done. That's how easy it is to switch between the modules. And again, if you wanted to switch between this module and the infrared module, exactly the same process. It's very effortless. In terms of the work area, this is the work area. I should note that this metal plate does not come with the machine. So I brought this metal plate, and it was to try and keep the work area from getting battered, because I do a lot of demos and I get asked, does the machine come with certain engraves? And the answer is no. That's me working on it. So you can see here where I've engraved the machine. It does happen. It doesn't affect the machine in any way. So I like to put something like this in, where this will take the brute force of the laser. This machine does come with 4 of these, and what they do is they're magnetic, and you're able to snap them in a wide range of places. So you can raise up wood, for example. So I could snap these into the wood. I've snapped one on that side, and you can raise the wood up off the bed so air can flow underneath. And you can do something like that. So this is a nice way of saving space. So this machine is capable of engraving items up to 26 millimeters. So it's not a lot of height. So there's no room for that honeycomb bed that you would usually have. But in taking that out and using these, they've not only saved that space, they've also saved money. So this is why this machine is able to be priced at the low price it is. It's very budget friendly and has a ton of features for the price points. So if you're thinking of getting a first laser, I would highly recommend this laser because of its price point and the beginner friendly features, the dual cameras, the batch fill, all the different features that come into it. It's very, very budget friendly and very beginner friendly. So that is pretty much all the features, or a quick physical tour of the machine. There is this button on the front. When you send a job, you simply press this button and it will start. And again, this machine will not operate if this is open. So this lid has to be closed for it to operate. If you wanted to stop the machine, you can pause it simply by opening the machine. I wouldn't recommend doing it that way, but it will pause the machine because it's a class 1 laser. In terms of on the back, there's a power supply. I have this being vented outside. So you can vent this to the smoke purifier, and I'll go over that at the end of this. I'll jump on now to the X-Tool F2 Ultra UV. So this is the big machine, and what I'll do is I will just move the camera up. There we go. So you can see this is a fairly tall machine. The work area is very, very spacious, especially compared to the F2. So this is 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters. So everything you see here is not usable, but the most of it is. And in terms of alignment, you might see a dot. If I just zoom that in and just zoom it out. So I will go. Hopefully you can see the 2 dots. So on the screen, you'll see 2 dots, a red dot and a blue dot. So you can simply use the touchpad that's included. So this touchpad here is included with the machine. And there's several buttons on it. So it's touchscreen. There's an up and down button, a framing button, and this is the button you'll press to start. And there's touchscreen options. So what I'll do here is I'll use the up, and what I've done is focus the laser. So the way that you focus the laser is you make it so the red dot and the blue dot intersect. When the red dot and the blue dot intersect, the laser is in focus with the material, and it's honestly that simple. The software can do this automatically, but you do have the option of doing it manually. In terms of operating this machine, you can operate this machine with the guard open or closed. By default, it will only operate with the guard closed, but you can override it. Because of that, you will need safety glasses if you operate it like this. Even if you operate it like this, you won't need safety glasses if you operate it with the lid all the way down. So again, if you operate it with the lid partially open, even a little bit, you do need to wear safety glasses, and we'll cover that in the laser safety. In terms of buttons of what's available on this physical machine, there's an emergency stop button. It's a big red button. It's on the side here. And then you do have power turn it on, and some USB connectivity to hook it up to a computer or attach the rotary device, for example. So you do have some options there. Now, if we jump over to the baby of the family, so this is the X-Tool F2. So this is the baby. This is a very affordable for a Galvo laser. So I think it's about £1,300. It does have a smaller work area. So in terms of the work area, you're looking at 11.5 by 11.5 centimeters. So this is about the size of a coaster with a little bit of space to spare. But this machine is extremely fast compared to a gantry-based laser. So again, this speed of this machine is 6,000 millimeters a second compared to the M2 of 600. And again, the difference is this has a smaller work area. The M2 has a massive work area. In terms of portability, it has this handle. I've carried this on the bus. I've taken it on the train. It's very, very portable. If you're doing craft fairs, this is the machine you would be looking at. You can pair this up with the air purifier, and I've done that. This is what this blue box is. I have this vent into this blue box, to this white box. So the air purifier, and it works absolutely fine with that. And again, the air purifier is very, very portable, and I'll show you that when we look at the X-Tool website. And again, in terms of buttons, on the side here is an emergency stop. On the side here is a dial, and you can control the focus of the laser, very much like how we did with the buttons on this. You can move the laser up and down, and it will move where the red dot and the blue, how far the red dot is from the blue dot. And again, if you want to get it into focus, you simply move the laser until the red dot intersects with the blue dot, and then it's in focus with the material. So it's very, very simple to use. And again, it's very fast. And that is pretty much everything about the machine. And again, I have this one, the F2, venting to the air purifier. I could vent it outside, but I have it vented to the air purifier for demonstration purposes. In terms of the X-Tool F2 Ultra UV, I have this one venting outside along with this one. So if anyone has any questions about that, we will jump on to the next section. So that was the physical look around. So now what we'll do is we'll jump onto the laser safety. So in terms of laser safety, never, never, never leave the machine unattended. So when I show you the software, you can always pause the machine mid-engrave. So never leave the machines running without someone in the room, an adult, someone that can stop the machines if needed. And then in terms of where you put the lasers, please put them on a flat, stable surface. So you don't want it moving around. Hi, Lyle. How big are the golf clubs? So that would determine where are you engraving on the golf clubs, and how big the golf clubs are would determine what machine I'd recommend. So straight off the bat, I wouldn't recommend the M2 because it's enclosed and there's no way to use it with the lid open, but you could engrave a golf club on the F2 or one of the Ultras. So it's what is the length of the golf club, and what are you trying to engrave on it? Would be my questions in terms of what machine I would recommend. So in terms of laser safety, don't modify the machine. Ventilation. So I mentioned ventilation on these machines. Even if I'm engraving metal, I vent it outside. So it's not worth taking a risk on your health. You have options. It does come with included hose pipe. Where possible, vent it outside. If you have to use it inside, vent it to either the air purifier, the AP2, so that's for the bigger machines, or vent it to an air purifier, basically, if you have to use it inside. And in terms of materials, you should never engrave or cut. PVC, so vinyl. Most vinyl contain PVC. As a rule of thumb, I don't engrave any types of vinyl. When you do that, it releases a very bad gas. It will damage your lungs. It will corrode the glass on your laser. It's a double whammy. Please don't do it. If in doubt, don't engrave. I don't engrave materials I don't know. And it just gets as simple as that. And then safety glasses. So I mentioned the M2 is fully enclosed. You don't have to worry about safety glasses for that machine. But if you do operate either the F2 or the F2 Ultra UV with the guard open, you will need a pair of safety glasses. I have several pairs of safety glasses. I recommend X-Tools safety glasses, as I know what types of machine these work with in terms of the laser sources. So these protect me from the UV wavelength as well as the infrared and the diode. So I recommend these ones because you know what you're working with. They're very comparable with third-party pair prices. In fact, they're slightly cheaper. So I recommend these ones. These are the ones that I typically use. These ones, for example, these do not protect me against the UV wavelength. I know that for a fact. So if I'm using the UV laser, it's pointless me wearing these because it does not provide adequate protection. And when we talk about safety glasses, I'm not talking about safety glasses you would wear at a construction site to protect your physical eyes. These do protect your physical eyes, but they do so in a different way. So they filter out the light that is harmful to your eyes, and they protect you that way. So they're not protecting your eyes from a physical object hitting them. They're protecting you from a spectrum of light that would otherwise damage your eyes. So I'd highly recommend, if you're going to operate a machine with the guard open, and there's reasons why you would do that, using the rotary tool, conveyor belt, slide extension, etc. Golf club. So if you're engraving a golf club, it's going to be too large to put in the work area, and you're going to need to engrave object with the lid partially open, and thus you'll need a pair of glasses. So I hope that makes sense. And again, if anyone has any questions, please do reach out to me. I am checking the comments. Thank you for that question. And then now we will jump over to the laser dot size. So I did briefly mention this. So this is worth noting because I do get asked why I sometimes recommend a 10-watt laser over the 20-watt laser, or an infrared laser over a diode. And it really depends on what you're trying to do. So if you're trying to cut, this wouldn't really matter all that much to you. But if you're engraving images, so I have this slate coaster of a cat. It's not very highly detailed. So the 10-watt and the 20-watt, you wouldn't find many different looks towards the 10-watt and the 20-watt. But if I was engraving something with a bit more detail, the 10-watt would be a better option because the dot size is smaller. So think of it this way: the dot size, the laser has a dot size. So think of the dot size as a writing or drawing implement. So the F2 Ultra UV is like drawing with a strand of hair. It's that tiny. And because of that, you're able to get all the little details. The infrared laser is a little bit bigger, and again, you lose some of the details that you would get on the UV, but you still get most of the details. And then when it comes to the diode, much bigger. And not just that, it's more oval or rectangular shaped. So you do end up losing some of the details as you go with, say, a 20-watt diode laser versus a 10-watt. So there are reasons why you would want a lower wattage of laser. And it really depends on what you do. So that's the job of the host. So if you have any questions and you have a demo, this is what I explain to my customers. So I try and give them the best information that will give them the highest chance of success for whatever they're using the laser for. So this is why I mention it, because I've been asked questions why I would recommend one over the other. And it really depends on what you're doing with it. But if you are doing detailed drawings, this will make a difference. So with that being said, if we jump into the software, what I'll do is I will post the link to the download of X-Tool Studio. So I'll post that into the comments right now. So that is posted. And then if I jump over quickly to Safari, And if I jump over to the Xtool website, I'll show you a couple of things. So the first thing is how to book a product demo. So if you go to local service, product demo, you're then able to select a person. So you could go, I want an in-person demo, and I'll go to Luton. And first person that comes up is Paul. So I might then go, do you know what? I actually want to demo, type of machine I want to demo is listed here. So I might go, do you know what? I want the F2 Ultra UV. And guess what? Paul does have that. So you can filter it by specific machine. And this will be your location. So again, you're not limited just to the people closest to you. You can book an online demo if traveling is an issue for yourself. And it's as easy as clicking on the individual. So if we click on Paul, Paul's a very good guy, very knowledgeable. I would highly recommend him if you live near Paul. Please do check him out. And this is his schedule. So you're able to click on a time and you're able to enter the information. You want to do a product demo, you want to do in person, your address. Honestly, it doesn't take any credit card or payment information. If you're doing a material test or skill training, that's a separate thing. So right now, Xtool's running the promotion where any demo, absolutely free. The host will get paid by Xtool directly regarding, it doesn't matter if you buy or not. So you're able to get an honest demo. And I should be transparent and say that if you do buy a machine, if you do go on to buy a machine from the demo within a certain time frame, the host that you go with will make a small commission. So I should be transparent about that. But in terms of the demo, the host gets paid regardless. It doesn't matter if you purchase the machine or not. So I like to say that the machine sells itself. It either does what you want it to do or it doesn't. And if it does, and it's fit for purpose, you end up buying the machine. And if it's not, you don't. So these machines, I will say I've used many, I shouldn't say many, I've used multiple different laser manufacturers. And Xtool is what I've settled on now for all the machines in my business, simply because they all work together and I'm able to do many things that would be more complicated with other manufacturers. And we'll go over that shortly. So in terms of other things, I would highly recommend you download the software. And again, I've posted that information in the actual link in the comments. So I highly recommend you check that out. It's free software. It works with Xtool's lasers only. So with that being said, if I've missed anything, please do let me know, and we'll jump straight in now to the software. So in terms of the software, if I show you, first thing I recommend going to, and this is this Xtool Academy. So the Xtool Academy is an official resource. So if I just hide my face, in fact, if I do this, the Xtool Academy is an official resource. I highly recommend it. If you've brought a machine or looking to buy a machine, it's an excellent resource. So for example, if I've just brought the M1 Ultra, I can jump in and I can go straight to the unboxing and honestly, it's step by step, and this is an official Xtool resource. So I've been asked multiple times if there's anything more than just a guide that you can read. They want something, customers want something that's visual. This is an official resource from Xtool, so I highly recommend that. Apart from that, if you go to the actual Xtool Academy, if you have a look under general, I would highly recommend the laser safety training. Even if you buy the M1 and some things aren't applicable, this is really good knowledge to have in terms of what you get at the end of it. You get a little certificate that you can print off. This has real world value. This can form a part of your risk assessment if you do a craft show, for example. So if you have the X-Tool F2 and you're taking that to a craft event, this forms a real life scenario where this comes in handy. So you can use this certificate as a part of your risk assessment, that you're a laser safety officer and that you know how to keep the laser safe. So again, it's very good information to have, and I highly recommend it. And again, you can download this software today. It's absolutely free. You can give it a try before you even get a laser. If you've ordered a laser and it's on its way, why not do it? It honestly will save you some time. Other resources that are available are from content creators such as Paul. So I just pointed out Paul on the X-Tool squad, that you can book him for a demo, skill training, or material test. He's also collaborated with X-Tool and produced a little series. I highly recommend you check it out. And again, you can do this without buying a laser. You can just see if it's something that you can do, something that you're willing to do. Do you have the skills to do it? Honestly, it's easy to download the software, install it, and just play the video. And then you'll see just how easy it is. In terms of other features, so this specific workshop is about maximizing your time and minimizing the effort that you put in to get a finished job. So one of the biggest issues that I find, that I have myself and that I find customers have, is they spend so much time getting orders right. And by that I mean, for example, let's just say I offer a family tree. It comes in several variations. So you might have a family of 5, a family of 6, a family of 7. I've got different templates. So I have a customer that has a family of 10 and they want certain names in certain orders. And I do that. I send them over a screenshot of the design and they want it changed. They want the font different. And, I change the font to something different and they want something else tweaked. They want certain words bigger or smaller. And before you know it, I've spent an hour and still not sold the product, still not finished the product even. So X-Tool have effectively solved this issue by coming out with custom things, and I am really, really excited about custom things. So I use custom things for my own business. I do have a demo account of custom things to show you. So if you're looking to implement custom things, please do reach out. I'm happy to help you. There is an enterprise version available of this. So what that means is if you have multiple stores, there's a way that you can use this software and use it with multiple stores. And in terms of stores, you could have 100 stores or you could have 5, and we can scale it depending on the amount of stores that you need. If this is something that you would be interested in, again, please do reach out. We can talk about pricing, features, but the gist of it is all the same for the small business version, which is what you see inside the X-Tool Studio software. And the beauty of this is you're able to create products. If I go over to my products, I've created a few products. So for example, this golf marker, I did this the other week. This is pictures that I have here in the office. So this honestly is something that I've taken. So if I was to switch here, you can see this is the golf marker that you can see on your screen. And the way that you can do this is you set up the products. So if I briefly show you how this is done, you add pictures. This is really the hardest bit, is getting some decent pictures of your products. X-Tool have made it very easy. So if you're using X-Tool materials, you're able to import the stock images directly that X-Tool use. So it's very easy. If you're using X-Tool materials, it's very, very easy. So I've give it a name, give it a category. You can add variations. So in terms of variations, it could be color, it could be size, it could be thickness. So you have many different options. If I go over to the area, I've then selected the area. So I've uploaded a picture of just the item and I've added the area. I've worked out what the actual usable area is. And this is probably the most critical bit. So once you get this set up, you are most of the way there. Then finally, in terms of the parameters, you can get the parameters from the X-Tool software. So if you're using Xtool materials, Xtool have the parameters already, so you don't need to do that. Thank you, Lal. I will message you back after the live. And then you're able to quickly and easily implement all these things into a finished product. So once this is done, like I've done here, I can then go to my products and it will be published. And now if I switch over to Safari and just switch over to this tab here. So this is the same thing, but the website version. So the same thing I just showed you, this is available on the web. But if I go to my actual store, so this is my online store. So if you don't have an online store, this is an easy way to get an online store. If you already have an online store, such as a WordPress-based website that uses WooCommerce, you can incorporate this directly into it. If you use Shopify, you can incorporate this directly into it. So you don't have to use Xtool's custom things website. But if you don't have a website at all, now you do. You have a way for customers to select a product and customize it. So I've set prices. I click on this and I go pick up. So pick up or delivery. These are the times, customize it. And now I'm given with some options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something that I've done before. I've uploaded a picture. So what I'll do is I'll upload from my device. If I click upload via mobile scan, it will show a QR code and I'm able to scan that QR code and upload it directly from my phone. So let's just say I'm doing this from my computer, but the picture's on my phone. And I think, how am I going to get that picture off my phone onto the computer? Scan the QR code, upload the picture directly from your phone, and it will shoot straight on to the screen. And I should note that Xtool does have a kiosk. So this solution here can be an in-store solution if you want it to be. So they have 3 variations of kiosk. Alternatively, you can use a tablet of your own. So you can use an Android or iOS-based tablet. I have an iPad. I have this custom things app installed on my iPad. I will say with the iPad, it's a couple of versions behind, and that's nothing to do with Xtool. That's just to do with the application review process from Apple. It takes a while to get updates approved, and understandably so. And because of that, it's a few versions behind the Android version. So what I'm going to do is upload from device. I'm then just going to upload my dog. So here you can see a picture of my dog. First thing I can do, I want to show you, is this AI aspect. So I can go pencil sketch. That image there will not engrave exactly how I want it on this type of material. It's enamel. So this is a golf coin. So I'm really excited about these golf coins too, because of Xtool's new release, the 01, the UV printer. I will be printing full color on these using the UV printer, and I'm very, very excited about that. I have had requests for full color golf coins, and at the moment I'm only able to laser engrave, which is still pretty good, but it's not color. You won't get color in the same way with a laser engraver. You can get color depending on the type of laser source. If you use a MOPPA laser source in stainless steel, you're able to get variations of color. But in terms of full color, the way that a printer works, it's just not possible with a laser. So we'll just wait for that to work. It will be just my luck. This is going to sizzle out. Usually it's already done. Try it again. So this is a way a customer can do this. So you would send the customer your link or to your website or to your custom things. They will place the order. So they will do the order the way that they want it. So in this case, I'm just turning this image into something that's easily more laser engraved. So it's generating. This is probably where it craps out again, unfortunately. If that's the case, it might be that I try a different one. just do that maybe. Try cartoon sketch. So this is one of the things I use when I do expos with Xtool. This is a very nice way of capturing customer designs that you can engrave there and then. So if you are doing a craft show, it's a very easy and efficient way to get the customer to do all the work of the design. And you literally just have to worry about putting the right material into the laser. It's honestly that simple. I have a feeling this is just not going to be my day today. So while that is working, this is always the nature of live streams. Things don't always work the way you want them to. But if I was to show you the, oh, there, it has done it. So that would engrave better than the original image, for example. And you can see here, it's generated that. And I could go, do you know what? I want to see what the line drawing looks like. So it will save that. And if I click on it again, it doesn't have to generate it. It knows it's already generated it. And that's a simple line drawing. So for me, that's actually too simple. It's missing some of the detail, though that could be quite nice on wood. So you find that the simpler line drawings will work better on wood, for example, than they would on enamel. Slate's very forgiving. So slate, that would work great on slate too. As you start using lasers, you figure out the best way to get an image to engrave onto the material that you're working on. So we just try this pencil sketch one more time. And if it doesn't work, there we go. So this is the pencil sketch. So this is kind of what I would be looking for. So you can see there. And then what I can do is I can cut out the white. So you can't see it by default. You don't see the white on the background, but here I can take out the white background. And again, it automatically does that. So it doesn't really show up on here, but then I could go, do you know what? I might want to doodle on there, and doodle, I mean, I could do that, W. If I don't like it, I can just erase that. I can also add text. So by that, I mean, I can type in Chuck. That's the name of my dog. I can select the font. I can move that up and I can go, do you know what? I want to move it there, and I will curve that around just a little bit. Move it there. So if this was a customer, the customer spent all this time making this design. If I hit confirm, it tells me the price and this breakdown. So in the actual product, if I go over here and edit, you can see the areas and design in terms of the price, pricing rules. So I've got pricing rules specifically for this golf marker. So if I exit out of that and just show you what that means. So I've set the default price of 5. If I switch over and go to more pricing rules. So I'm doing this from in the software now. And if I just hit edit, you can see that if you use an image, it costs £1 more. And this is just local currency. So although it says dollars there, it's whatever your local currency is. And then if you do a bitmap retouch, it's £1. So this is how we do it. So we uploaded an image. That's $1 extra because we uploaded an image and we retouched it. So we retouched it by using the AI function and the cutout. So you can set different pricing. If you was printing, you can print, like, the larger the print, the more money it costs, because in theory it costs you more money print. It uses more ink, so you should charge the customer more. So X will have many different ways to offer flexible fair pricing, that's fair to the customer, and that's fair for you. And now if we go back to Safari, and I go back to here, if I just hit pay and confirm, so if I selected delivery, I would be prompted to go to their payment gateway, and I could pay with my card, and then you would make the order and ship it to the customer. In this case, I'm doing in-store pickup. And in terms of that, we'll just go with Jeff, telephone number 555-555555. And then email address, we'll go with jeff@jeff.com. And confirm. So a custom golf marker, £7 total, confirm, done. And there's the pickup code. So to make sure that the right person gets the right thing, you can implement this pickup code. Now, if we switch back over to this Xtool Creative Studio, if I just click on custom things again and go to orders, we have this order now, Jeff. If I hit process, it will open up the job exactly how it was made. So it's even got that background removed. So we removed the background from Chuck, and it's got all the items on here. And again, that was made possible. All we've done here is we've just placed the order, and we're able to do that through the website, as you can see on the screen. So the customer has made that. And now we simply get this finished design project, and it's automatically placed it in that top corner. And if you're wondering why it's placed it in that top corner, if we go to my products, I've set that up. So if you have a jig, or if you have a specific place where you like to engrave items, if I go to there's a part of the area, maybe it is easier for me to show you here. Maybe it's under parameters. So if I show you the parameters for this, there we go, it's under parameters. So in the actual parameters that we set, the power, the speed, you can set the location. So it automatically put that image in the top corner there. You can enter in the physical points if you want, so 30, 30. If I go back to this, go back to the golf marker, it's put that in 30, 30, which starts there. So you're able to do that. You're able to add all these different little elements in there that actually help speed up the way that you make products. So now, instead of me spending an hour, so if this was a family tree, instead of me spending an hour back and forth with the customer, so the customer might have already paid, so they might have selected design, wanted 10 names, they've texted me the names, or messaged me the names. It might be they've ordered through Etsy, and I have to copy and paste, and that in itself can lead to errors if I don't copy and paste correctly. It's a lot of manual work. This takes all that manual work out of it, puts the emphasis on the customer. If there's a name that's wrong, if I spelled Chuck wrong and I engraved it without the K at the end, so Chuck with just a C, that's on me, that's on the customer. So all you're doing is using a customer supplied image now. They've made that with the assets that you've let them use. So you can upload your own images, you can give them access to certain resources, you can give them access to pre-made templates. So think of Father's Day, you can make it so you can only add one single thing to an element, so a name, change a name. I've did this with cards. So if I was to just show you a card, for example, this is a template that I have with cardstock. So this whole design apart from this, this is all fixed. This is a template. So come Father's Day, the only thing you can change on this is the name. And I've made it so it's only one specific font because this marries up with that. So this limits customer choice, but enables them to make something very, very quickly. So these are templates. And the way templates work is most of the design is already done. They only have the ability to edit certain elements. So think of a family tree, for example. If it's a 10-person family tree, the only thing they can edit is 10 different names. So the actual family tree design is already there. And it might be that you offer them 6 or 7 different templates of that same 10-person family tree. But again, the only thing they can edit is the 10 names that fit in that family tree. And if they enter a name wrong, that is on them. But that saved you the time of working out the customer's requirements. Because these are very custom, very bespoke pieces of art, pieces of work, there's no one size fits all. So allowing the customer to do all this work, they feel a part of the process, but it saved you so much time, honestly. I've spoken to many businesses, and when I've told them about these custom things, they've brought it straight off the rip because they know how much time it saves them, not just in time though, but in terms of redoing incorrect orders. So mistakes do happen. Sometimes things don't copy and paste properly. Sometimes things don't come through. So I'm using the paid for version, and this, I should note that this is not expensive. If I just go to subscriptions, so what I'll do is I'll just switch to Safari because it will show my credit card information or the last 4 digits on there. So if I just scroll down out of that, I go onto it, there we go. Okay. So you do have the starter plan. So you can do 10 orders. You don't have the ability to take payment online, but you can do 10 items a month. I have this growth plan. So right now there's the first month free, or at least it was for me. And then after that, it's $19 a month. So it's about £15 in Great British pounds a month. And you're able to process up to 100 orders a month. And you have access to all different resources that they make available. And you do have the ability to accept payments online. So if you don't have an online store yet, this will get you set up right away. And you can incorporate this if you do have a store. If you do have a Shopify, you can link them up. So if you get stuck, please do reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help. So now if we go back over, so this order, you can see here it's pending. Now if we hit process, you can see here it's going to take 16 seconds. So we can quickly and easily do that. And you can see here the settings: 85% power, 1600 speed, 700 lines per second, 100 kilohertz in terms of the frequency. And again, a similar thing. So if I might go, do you know what, I want to do 55 power, I can maybe change this. But do you know what? You can have that option and it will go, 16 seconds. So I will leave that at the default. So that was at 50. That was at, actually, that was at 85. And that was at 50. There we go. So we'll leave that at what it was. And what we'll do is we'll take a picture. So right now, nothing is in there. If I was to put a golf coin in there, I'll just place it over here. I'll put the lid. So I'll just put that over there. If I zoom in to the F2 Ultra UV, I'm just going to take a picture. And you can see there. And I can go frame. I'm just going to frame it out. If I zoom in a bit more, you might be able to see it through this. If not, if I open it up, there we go. So this is a real-time frame. I can go, do you know what? And again, if you had a jig, this coin will only fit in a certain way. And again, it will make things super, super easy. So I know that is going to engrave there. So I'm very happy. And I'll hit process. But before that, what I will say is if I zoom in, I don't like how light the image is. So I'm going to adjust this myself after the fact. So if I auto adjusted it, that went too dark. What I'll do here is I'll just take some of the lighter bits off. There we go. So what I've done there is I've just adjusted this image. So this was a customer supplied image, say. Do you need to purchase a separate new rotary attachment, or will my RO2 work? I have in terms of for the F2, depends on what machine you're talking about, but in terms of the F2 and the F2 Ultra UV, I've used both the RA2 on both of them. So the RA2 should work, depending on what machine you're talking about. If I process that, I'm now just going to hit the start button. And that will engrave now. Just checking out the actual image. So I've went in terms of, you can see, and this is in real time, by the way. So this is I'm not trying to trick you in terms of what's happening. Honestly, this is real time. So I probably could have went darker. So if I was to open this up now, we have a look. I could have went darker on the name, so I could go, do you know what? That doesn't look all that great. But in this case, it does. I think it goes. It doesn't. You can see the name Chuck, and the main thing's the image. So if I was to now switch this to the desk camera, look at that. Honestly. So this went from a customer supplied image. So in this case, I was the customer. But if I was to just put that there, maybe I can zoom in somewhat. If I leave that there, what I'll do is I will switch that just so you can see. So to the right of me, you can see that image. I don't know that. And that's as close up as I can get, unfortunately, without it blurring. But you can see exactly what I mean in terms of how that looks. And that is that image. That is a custom supplied image, and you're able to effortlessly incorporate it into your design. If it was just an SVG, so because this is an image, I did alter this image myself. Customer's not going to know how to do that. So there is some aspects, or there are some aspects that you might have to manage yourself still, but this speeds up that process. Honestly, it's If it's just simple text, you don't have to do what I just did. You don't have to edit and, you know, make the image a little bit darker. Because I've worked with images and this material, I kind of know what needs to be done to get a desired effect, and it's a skill that you gather or that you get as you progress in your laser journey. So don't think you should know this from the get-go. This is honestly, it's knowledge that you acquire as you're working, as you're doing projects. But this custom things honestly does set you up for success. And this is an easy way that it's incorporated Xtool's AI Make. So the way that this image was generated, when the customer used the AI function, it used AI Make, which is Xtool's AI, generative AI platform. But in this case, it used a real image. So the source material was a real image. And then it made it into something that does laser engrave. Absolutely fantastic, especially on enamel. So this is white enamel. And I use the Xtool UV laser to do this. So again, if I was to just bring that up to full screen and just bring this up, honestly, you can just see just how amazing that is. If I was to just zoom out just a little bit, there we go. So this is what we've just done. And the detail is absolutely phenomenal. I can clearly read that says Chuck. I don't know how well that's coming across on the camera. It's lighter than the image, but it makes the image pop because it's not too in your face. But obviously you can change the settings to whatever you prefer. And that's really the benefit with these machines, is you can really make them your own. And that's just one of many, many examples of what products you can make with Xtool and using their software. What I'll do is, I think I've went over, but that's pretty much all the time we have for today. I will be online on Wednesday. I'll reach out to the people that have messaged me. So Alex, if you just let me know what machine, so I'll put that in the comments now. I've just asked you what machine you're using. So the RA2, for example, is the original or one of the older rotary devices. So I've got the RA2 and the RA3, and the biggest difference is the RA3 only works with the newer machines, but it's also magnetic. So the way the different attachments work is you don't have to use a Allen key or an Allen wrench to switch between the different chucks. Most of it, 90% of it is magnetic, so you can switch between the different ones effortlessly. But I do use my RA2. I much prefer my RA3, but again, it really depends on what laser. So depending on what laser you mean, depends on if you can use the RA2. So for example, the M2, I don't believe you can use the RA2. I know for the RA3 there is an extension. There's something coming out, so you can use the RA3 with the M2. But yeah, if you please do let me know what machine you're talking about. And again, you can reach out to me. So in terms of reaching out to me, my contact information's on the screen. You can drop me a message on WhatsApp, drop me an email, phone me if need be. If I don't answer, leave me a voicemail and I'll get back to you. But let me know and I'll be happy to help. And again, that's all the time I have for today. I'll be online, not tomorrow, Wednesday. I'll be online on Wednesday and Friday. So Wednesday, I'm online at 8 o'clock. And Friday, I'm online at the same time, 7 o'clock. I'll be covering pretty much the same things again. So if you have any questions about what we covered today, please do tune in again on Wednesday and Friday, and I'll hopefully be able to answer your questions. If you have any specific materials, please do ask, and I'll see if I have them in the office, and I'll show you just how easy it is to get going with the laser engraving. Thank you for your time, and I will see you